The question says the rectangle on the left hand side has area 4 centimeters squared and the rectangle on the right hand side has area 5 centimeters squared. Work out the value of x and y. So we're told that the rectangle on the left hand side has an area of 4 centimeters squared. We can find the area of a rectangle by multiplying the length by the height, or more specifically, the length multiplied by the perpendicular height. So in this case, this rectangle has a length of x plus 5 and a height of y. We don't know what the values are, but we can work those values out by answering this question. So to form an equation, we can write x plus 5 multiplied by y. So let's write all of this in brackets and then put the y on the outside since we're multiplying. And this equals to 4. This is what we're told in the question. Similarly, to work out the area of this rectangle, we do length times height. So 3x plus 1 multiplied by the height, which is y, and this equals to 5 for this rectangle. Now, if we expand the brackets, we get the following. So for the first equation, we have x times y, which is xy, then 5 times y, which is 5y, so we write plus 5y, and that equals to 4. And then for the second equation, we've got 3x times y, which is 3xy, and 1 times y, which is y. So plus y equals to 5. Now, hopefully you've spotted that what we've got here is a pair of simultaneous equations. So we can use substitution or elimination to work out the values of x and y. I'm going to use elimination to solve these two equations, so let's do that now. The first thing we should do is label the two equations. So let's label this as equation 1 and let's label this as equation 2. Then we notice that in both equations we've got a term that has xy in it. So in the first equation we've got xy, and in the second equation we've got 3xy. And we also notice that in both equations we've got a term that has just y in it. So in the first equation we've got 5y, in the second equation we've got y. Now in this question we need to think about which of the two terms we should eliminate. So in this case, if we were to eliminate the xy's, then we would just be left with an equation that has one unknown in it. In other words, just y on its own. So we would be able to work out that value and then we could substitute that back into one of these equations to work out what x is. If we were to eliminate the y's instead, then we would have a bit of an issue, because then we'd be left with some term that has xy in it, which is two unknowns, and that would equal to some number. So having an equation with two unknowns equaling one number doesn't really help us in working out what those unknowns are. So we're going to eliminate the xy's then. To get the same number of xy's in both equations, we see that we've got 3xy in the second equation and one lot of xy in the first equation. So we need to multiply the first equation by 3. And now if we do that, we get the following. So xy multiplied by 3 gives us 3xy. 5y multiplied by 3 gives us 15y. And 4 multiplied by 3 gives us 12. Now, if we write the second equation underneath, we've got 3xy plus y equals to 5. If we take away both equations from each other, then the xy's will cancel. So if we do that, we get the following. 3xy minus 3xy is 0, so we don't need to write anything. 15y minus y is equal to 14y. And 12 minus 5 is equal to 7. So finally, to get y on its own, we divide both sides by 14 and we get y equals to a half. Or we can write this as a decimal in the following way. So y equals to 0.5. So to work out what x is, we just need to substitute our value of y into one of these equations and then solve for x. So if we substitute y equals 0.5 into the first equation, we get the following. So we've got x multiplied by y. Remember, y equals to 0.5, so we can write 0.5 in brackets, plus 5 multiplied by y again. So instead we're going to write 0.5, and that equals to 4. So 0.5 times x is equal to 0.5x, and 5 times 0.5 is equal to 2.5, So we've got plus 2.5, and that equals to 4. Then take away 2.5 from both sides, we get 0.5x equals to, so 4 minus 2.5 is equal to 1.5. And then finally, if we want to get x on its own, so we need the coefficient or the number in front of x to equal to 1, then we can multiply both sides by 2 to do that. So multiplying both sides by 2, we get x equals 2. So 1.5 times 2 is equal to 3. And so we worked out that x equals to 3 and y equals to 0.5.